Look at that woman in the black and white dress. Her name is Lucy. She asks for help because she can't pick up her briefcase on the ground, but the woman refuses to help. Lucy has a job interview, but so does the woman in black, and she leaves without helping her. A man is coming up behind her, and when Lucy notices him, asks for help. He decides to help her and asks where she's going. She replies that is going to a very important job interview. If she doesn't get this job, she won't be able to buy her daughter's medication. The man says it's a shame and tears up her briefcase. Lucy gets upset by what she sees, but it's too late. The man tells her he's doing a favor saving her from wasting time with the interview and advises her not to go anymore. The job will be his. Lucy only has a physical problem, but she has all the necessary qualifications to fill the vacancy. The man says that no one in the company will want her, she should leave. Lucy protests, but he has already gone. Another man appears and, realizing the situation, asks if Lucy is all right. She replies that yes, she was just going for a job interview, but now she no longer has her CV. Without her CV, she won't be able to take part in the interview, and she really needs this job. The man says he'll help her. He can go to the store nearby and print out another CV for her. Lucy notices that he has a folder too and deduces that he's also going to take part in the interview. She doesn't want to disturb him and doesn't want him to be late. That won't be necessary. The man says he's going to help her and will be back soon. She's happy and thanks him. Lucy manages to get to the company and with great difficulty enters the room. Carl doesn't understand why she's there. He made it very clear that she wasn't supposed to show up. Lucy feels overwhelmed by the comment and thinks she should leave, but Mark won't let her, saying she has a right to be there. She should ignore what Carl is saying, sit down and wait. Cheryl takes the vacant seat, preventing Lucy from sitting down. Mark indicates another chair, but Carl says it's also occupied. They're amused by the situation and say that there's no place for her. Mark says they're stupid for acting like this, and this comment annoys Carl. Mark is undeterred and demands that they leave Lucy alone. Cheryl doesn't understand why Mark is helping Lucy. The less competition, the better. Look at her, she can barely walk. She doesn't belong here. Mark asks Lucy not to listen to what they're saying. In fact, they're probably afraid that she'll get the job and they won't. Carl and Cheryl laugh it off and say that Lucy will never steal the job that will be theirs. Cheryl studied at the best university in the country, and Carl has worked in several important companies and traveled to several countries. Mark doesn't care where they've worked or studied. That doesn't make them any better than him or Lucy. Carl loses patience with them and wants them to leave, for better or worse. He tries to evict them by force and causes a riot. The secretary appears and asks them to calm down. The company manager is already waiting for them and they have to go in. Cheryl says it's about time. The secretary says that the four of them should go in. Cheryl and Carl are disgusted by the information. The secretary asks them to follow her. Mark helps Lucy. The secretary says they can go in. The manager sees only 2 people and asks where the other 2 are. Cheryl says it's just them, but Lucy comes up behind them asking to wait as she's coming. The manager welcomes them and asks them to come in. Lucy thanks for the patience. Madeline thanks everyone for coming and knows how important it's for them to be there at that moment. Lucy thanks her for the opportunity to do the interview and if she's chosen promises not to disappoint. Cheryl is annoyed by her attitude and says that the manager is talking to all of them, telling Lucy to shut up. The manager reminds that only one person will be hired. Madeline proposes something. She asks them who they would eliminate first if they were in her position. Cheryl promptly replies that Lucy would be eliminated and she would be the one chosen. Madeline understands and asks Carl. He says that the answer is obvious, Lucy. She can barely walk. Mark defends Lucy, she can do it. Cheryl would rule Mark out too, for minding other people's business. Madeline asks if they believe that a disabled person can't take up a good position in the company. Cheryl says yes, it would be terrible. Carl agrees with her, arguing that it wouldn't be good for the company's image to have a person like Lucy doing the same job as them, especially him, who has worked in so many important companies and has so much experience. She couldn't handle it. Cheryl thinks that the next crazy thing will be hiring a wheelchair user. Mark can't hear it. It may cost his job, but he won't admit these comments. The manager asks them to calm down. She's made up her mind, already knows who will be hired. Carl thinks will be him or Cheryl, and she agrees. Madeline reveals that she's a wheelchair user, and the two smart guys are shocked. Cheryl tries to apologize for what she said, but it's too late. Madeline says she understood very well what they said, and Lucy is not who they think she is. Madeline introduces Lucy, the head of the company. They're partners. Carl asks if it's a joke. Madeline replies that no, they're business partners, and they needed to take some precautions. That's why they planned to Lucy to pose as a disabled person to see how they would behave. And as far as they can tell, Cheryl and Carl don't know how to deal with differences, so they're not fit for the job and can leave. Cheryl even has the audacity to say she doesn't need it. Madeline congratulates Mark, the job is his. He can hardly believe it. He didn't graduate from a good university or work in big companies like the others. Madeline says that even so, he has shown empathy, he cares about others, and that's why he's being hired. Mark is very happy and thanks her so much. He asks permission to greet the bosses. Madeline welcomes him as a new employee.